matchup here, Orbital?
Well, I'm actually very excited for the fact that they're both running offsuit secret paladins and token druids. So both these sets are high tier, but there are multiple different variations on them. So both of them are running their own variations. So we actually get a mirror match between the two. I'm expected to at least see one of them. Right? We're obviously going to see a mirror match of one of these decks. Or at least I hope so. We'll have a high chance of seeing a mirror. So it's really like who chose that better deck in that sense. I have a feeling that Priest is going to be in there no matter what. And if I have to say, we're probably going to get double secret bans coming out, so we probably won't see the Paladins coming out, even though that is not the secret Libram decks coming out. But I'm still very excited if I get to see both token druids and I get to see both secret paladins. I think both of those would be my very, very fun matches to watch.
Yeah, although I wouldn't jump the gun there in the banning of the secret paladin. Last game we did see Sasajiro let it through and ended up getting the win, opting instead to ban that control warlock list, which was interesting. I was hoping to see it played. So I wouldn't say that just, hey, you never know. Maybe the spell priest gets banned out. After seeing the priest just what happened, you never know what to do. But enough talking about this matchup, right? I'm getting impatient. I'm getting excited. I'm getting ready. We are going to take one more quick step aside, let our sponsors do their thing, and then when we return, we're going to get right into the action. Don't go anywhere.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Jeez, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.
Welcome back to the NECC. We've got more quarterfinal action just ahead of us right now. The number 3 seed from Durham, Steve, looks to defend their number 3 seeding, that honor to have such a high seed, against Naycrusade, representing the underdog Gorillas, who we already saw deliver a beautiful reverse sweep tonight. They build them different down there in Pittsburg, so we are going to see if that story remains true tonight. Naycrusade, Steve, let's get it cracking. Once again, my name is Ethan Dolan, probably better known as Nailhead. Tonight I share the booth with Orbital. How are we feeling about our second matchup of the night?
I'm feeling great, honestly, with the first match already going PSU's way. I mean, if this comes out with another upset, someone's gonna have to clock me over the head. Like, this is fantastic to be able to cast here.
Yeah, it's been a great day so far. Interested to see the bans that will be coming out for this second one. Looks like Naycrusade will be taking away a Warlock and Steve taking away the Paladin. So I'm just going to write down those choices very quickly. Warlock, Paladin taking off the board. Are you surprised to see that Warlock taken away for Steve instead of the Secret Paladin we've been talking about all day long, holding such a high win rate in the 60s on ladder? It's 1-0 today, perfect record. Why do you think people are choosing to not take that list away?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if it's everyone, or it might just be PSU going, we have a secret idea, which is priest. And everyone's just left scratching their heads, and everyone just starts beating their chests like, yeah, let's do it. I don't know, but I would find that amazingly true, because again, the priest is open, right? You leave some of these high power decks up and you say, cool, this is what we're going to run. Again, if you can't beat the top ranks, you're always forced to kind of ban it, which a lot of people kind of assume at this point, right? You assume that the paladin is going to be banned away. That's what you always hope. And I feel sometimes that does come true. Instead, you're forcing your opponent to kind of go, okay, well, now I'm going to win with this high tier deck list. But if you've already decided and figured out how to kind of dismantle the deck, which Naycrusade might have been able to do, cool, leave it open, make them kind of that much weaker if you can cut that deck out at its knees.
Yeah, I believe our producer is trying to say something. Caleb, what do you got for us? I got both bans. It was a Warlock ban on... Oh!
I got both. We're making sure that everyone can see everything. We're making sure everyone knows exactly what cards are being thrown down. So that's all it is. You know, totally irrelevant to casters, right? Like, casters don't need to know what cards are there.
No.
We go card 1 got laid down, and that's, oh look, it's an ace. So
this is Uno, right? This is I'm not late for the collegiate Uno quarterfinals.
Definitely not. Oh man, what was it? Oh, that reminds me of a funny story.
Wait, also, I think we have the wrong tag on Twitch. I'm gonna put it out there. I think it says Overwatch from yesterday. To the production end, you know what to do.
My blade burns with holy
We're just gonna keep yelling random stuff until someone actually throws the game at us. I think that's what's gonna happen. Just over and over again. This is wrong. This is wrong. Hey, let's play Uno. It's okay. Oh man, that's all that's gonna happen.
We are finally into game here. Naycrusade, or this is the reban.
Yes, reban.
So let's not put the carriage in front of the horse here. That's never a good time. Rebanning. Once again, Paladin is banned. Warlock will be banned out. I'm interested to see the priest come through. It feels very like TV show-esque that this one school has figured out the secret. Like, if Hearthstone had a Yu-Gi-Oh equivalent, we are watching it unfold before our very eyes.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things to me is always seeing that kind of unravel in a playoff scenario. It's the same thing with any game or any situation, right? After a while, someone's going to find out how to beat the top dog, and the meta revolves and evolves at the same time. Happens in League of Legends, right? It turns into a giant rock, paper, scissors game. Same with Dota 2 at points. You pick certain heroes and champions. Cool. Those champions are countered by other things. It just takes trial and error consistently to figure out what is the stronger matchup. Now, that's not always going to be shown in the pick rates, you know, off of any data collection center that you want to see. Sometimes it's just straight up practice. You go in, you test this stuff over and over again. You go in to a game, you create all these decks, and you run game after game of saying, cool, how does this work? You know, what are we deciding to run? And at this situation, that might be it. So excited to see if he does bring out the priest against the paladin, and if it actually works, PSG are onto something.
They may be onto something indeed, but we're going to see the Shaman go up against the Paladin to kick things off. Once again, Steve is the 3 seed, Naycrusade is the 6. Last round, we saw the upset, right? The 5 beat the 4, Sasajiro taking on Clarence. PSU, they know what it feels like to play from behind, and they know what it feels like to come in with some weird list. We're going to see if that can come through again here, Orbital. I'm really digging the culture, the vibe from these gorillas so far tonight.
No, so am I, and it's been fantastic, right? You can't say anything less than it's been exciting, it's been entertaining, and for a second time, we get to see the Murlocs, and I hope this time as well, Naycrusade is able to pop it up and be able to stack as quickly as possible. Problem being, of course, is that Steve is actually running the secret paladin, so specifically just pure secret. So you're going to see a lot more of these combinations coming out, probably a lot of the Murlocs kind of falling to the wayside and meeting their match and buffed up minion for minion, and that's kind of the problem last time. I think the Shaman actually won against the warrior side for Sasajiro in that situation. So I'm interested to see. It looks like Steve is still kind of trying to decide if he wants to, and is going to go ahead and force out that Crab Rider and just kind of stall out the first Murloc Tidecaller.
Yeah, and I really do like that play, taking board control, especially when these two deck lists are so board dependent, so dependent on holding that board control. I think that getting that Wind Fury out, very solid option. You do have the Young Priestess in hand as well, so have the opportunity to buff it even that health at the end if that's something you want to invest your time into. We're going to see how this does proceed. Feels like a Young Priestess turn to me, and then other 1-drops are up to question. We will see, however, what Steve does decide to play. That's why they're playing, and I'm just sitting here talking about it.
After a while, you just gotta, it's all about seeing all of the different branches that you can take, all the different paths, and figuring out which one leads to nutrients and like the pool of water, the final end of the rainbow. Or if you're going to find a dead path, you know, running straight into a rock or anything of that sort. Here, actually sitting on a 3 board, which is pretty nice. Unfortunately, I think Young Priestess that Steve played was hoping to buff up the Crab Rider, give that Crab Rider a little bit extra lifespan. But I still think it's going to survive at least one more turn, depending on Naycrusade actually deciding to drop the Spawn Pool Forager. He's actually going to go ahead and, ooh, okay. He's going to go ahead and swap out with a little extra damage trade and actually bring out the Tire Mug Tiny Fin. So be able to stick with 2 on the board. But that Novice Zapper is still up and available. So yeah, it's going to stay alive and easily take on the Divine Shield. So very well played by Steve thus far to be able to contain the board and keep that Murloc count just to 1.
Yeah, keep the Murloc count low, very vital, and just the creature count low. Talking about the buffs, as Tiny Fin will be coming on through everyone's favorite 0 cost. No thing can stop us. Going to buff the Murlocs a little bit and able to trade on board. Once again, board equally matched. We would see another trade if that is what Steve wants to do. First day of school coming through, grabbing Hellbore. In addition to another Knight of Anointment, going to draw a spell from deck. Man, the card draw coming through from Steve is going to be big here.
Yeah, these are enough buffs to actually cycle him through the next set of the nothing could stop us buffs. I think this is Steve actually prepping to just all out win after I think 6 mana turns come through. That's actually going to hurt because again, you already lost the Nofin can stop us. One of those cards, sorry. And then you're already only sitting on a Cold Light Seer, and you're not really going to have anything, so you lose out on so much of the resources that you are hoping to utilize. So Steve is actually just, I think, going to play this defensively, wait it out, let Naycrusade actually hit some of the targets. Yeah, just keep buffing up, allow yourself to slowly keep stacking up, and that's going to give you that opportunity later on, right? Naycrusade is actually, I think, out of any of the extra buffs that he was hoping for. So that's going to cause a lot of problems here on the later side. Yeah, he's actually resorting to dropping totems. Feels so bad.
Wow. Feels bad indeed. This conviction upgrades now that you do have 5 mana, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of damage potential that can just come through. Yeah, there's the conviction ranked up. There's a lot of options here. Orbital, that Crab Rider looking very appealing to me, especially with buffs in hand. Yeah, going to go with Crab Rider, going to toss down that conviction. That Crab Rider is going to be an issue if it goes unchecked. That is 8 damage represented every single turn without other potential buffs. And you're going to taking 6 more right now. Noble Sacrifice put up to protect, and Naycrusade put in a very, very tough situation on board.
And I love the Galloping Savior because this actually completely negates whatever Naycrusade was going to do. So having that 3/4 Steed taunt, yep, there it is. So immediately, any of the aggression that Naycrusade was going to do is gone. You are set. You have to attack this taunted character. And yes, you're able to survive, but there it is. Once again, you are sacrificing so many of these attacks. And Steve read this move like a book. Now Naycrusade has literally nothing in hand. This is the worst possible time for a Murloc Shaman to have, right? You want at least 2 or 3 cards to be able to buff. Naycrusade was hoping to get away with that 3-card drop and just gets punished for it.
It's got 20 damage here with Hammer of the Naru, I believe, in hand. That should just put them to 2.
Yeah, that's the hammer. That's lethal, I think.
2 life for Naycrusade.
Oh, no, sorry, not lethal. That was 3-3. Oh,
yeah,
I'm mistaken.
it's tough. It's
Math is hard, guys.
Math is hard and life is hard if you're Naycrusade because there's nothing you can do. The Tiny Fin, not what you're looking for on the back end. Game 1 going to be handed over to Steve in pretty decisive fashion, going to trade out on board just for giggles, it looks like. But Naycrusade falling in game number 1 to the so strong Secret Paladin list that still scratch my head why this isn't banned every single time.
Oh, there's also another way that you can deal with an overpowered deck, right? Which is sacrifice. You just give that game, you get it off the board, or because you basically say, cool, my 3 decks can take care of the other 2 in decent fashion. So if that's the game plan that they have opted to go for, I would be impressed. That's a sacrificial play that you don't normally see in a best of 5 series, because you always want to at least kind of start off on the right foot. So if that is what is happening here, I believe that is a very bold strategy coming out of Naycrusade. And if he has prepped these 3 decks to be able to win over, I want to say the Token Druid and the Control Warrior, that would be some big brain plays coming out that a lot of people would not think of.
Yeah, and Sasajiro in chat actually confirming exactly what you're saying both Naycrusade and I targeted Face Hunter and Token Druid. Their decks can't beat Warlock, so they opted to ban it out. The only issue is they haven't run in to that Hunter list yet, so they are a little bit ill-prepared for maybe some other things like this Rush Warrior, like ill-prepared for that Druid list I saw earlier today, but it was able to sneak out the win. So we'll see. It's all up in the air at this point, but one thing is certain, strong game number 1 from Steve, now going to run it out here with this Rush Warrior. Excited to see what this can yield. Naycrusade running it right back again with that Murloc Shaman Orbital. How do you feel about running the list back after you just ran with it? You think that it's a solid move, or it's a little bit prideful, a little bit stubborn-headed?
I think it is, but again, like, number 1, to have a player actually agree with me for whatever reason, I think that just gave me like a whole heap of a heart full like happiness right there, just to be able to hear that. So number 1, thank you to that over there. Second, again, it's all about strategy, right? Sacking the first game is not unheard of, right? Some of these situations, some of these games, it's actually understandable when it comes down to you lose a deck that you wanted to work with. If the opponent is throwing the strongest weapon they have at you right off the bat, cool, take the hit. It's not going to make too much of a difference because you already have lost that game in your head, right? If you win, it's a pleasant surprise. If you lose, it's all to the script. So running it back is probably within Naycrusade's kind of estimations, right? So I think this is well thought out, and be able to just play it and just keep, because you have to win with it anyway, might as well try and get it out of the way early.
Strong start here. Tidecaller, no Tiny Fin. I was going to say Tidecaller Tiny Fin, but costs 0. I mean, you're missing out on 1 damage. Stage Dive will come through. I personally would have ran them both out, but maybe a little scared of running out of gas here on the backside. Going to go with the Spawn Pool Forager. And there the Tiny Fin does finally come in. So missing out on 1 damage here early on. We'll hope that doesn't come back to bite Naycrusade. Steve doesn't have much here. Could coin out something. Probably just going to armor up in my mind. No real reason to run out this Lord Bear off this early.
Yeah. Considering how many buffs come out, that would be like the worst move I think you could do. Knowing that these Murlocs can get up to like 4 or 5 health on them, there is absolutely 0 reason that Lord Bear would be played early. I want to go back and actually double check. I don't know if he did. I want to say that he went ahead and actually mulliganed the entire hand, but if he didn't, this is actually a really rough starting hand that he decided to go for. So again, if he's sacking, that would be crazy as well. But now this is actually a decent time. He's going to drop the coin, I think, and I don't know what more he could go for. I don't really see, but he's actually going to drop Kargath, which is surprising to say the least. But yeah, he's going to start trying to rotate that into his hand, but he still leaves himself open. This could be like a fatal move here, actually, because I think this might be 2 or 3 turn lethal.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I would personally probably held onto the coin for the Brawl. A turn 4 Brawl would have been big. Depends how much got played on the board. Just absolutely curbing the progress. Gonna have to wait 2 more turns for that. And a 2-turn lethal, entirely possible. At 12, 8 damage on board right now. We don't know what will be drawn. There's a lot of potential damage that can come through right here. Also has that Cage Match Custodian hand, which will draw a weapon. There's just a lot of potential for Naycrusade right here. Bulwark of Azzinoth coming through. That is a lot of effective armor, so should be very, very solid move for them right now. Custodian comes through. Will be able to snag that Whack-A-Null. Going to pop in. Hopefully it doesn't buff the Custodian itself. A lot of other options, statistically unlikely. And it will snag the Tiny Fin on the back end right there.
Yeah, well, again, this has actually saved him a whole turn, which is very, very impressive. So, again, that only reduces to 1 each. But now, I mean, what can you do? I think Steve has kind of resigned himself, right? There is no way he can clear this board. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm a little bit slow in the head.
Yeah, it's all good. That's why I wasn't sure to drop the Tiny Fin there.
Yeah.
The second Tiny Fin is going to come back and hurt. And there it is. Yeah, that second Tiny Fin. Questionable when you know Brawl is in the deck. Gonna start with the Crab Rider. Once again, you might miss out on potential damage here, though you probably in the long run would rather the buff go on to the Crab Rider. There it is. You now have a 2/5. Your only card in hand is useless. Naycrusader is just absolutely praying, crossing their fingers, stroking that lucky rabbit's foot that nothing good is drawn from Steve down the stretch, because they are officially out of gas.
Yeah, that's actually... I was so hyped up for my 1 good call earlier on that all the rest of them are just going to like crap right now. I'm burning out as fast as this deck. That's how bad it is right now. He is dropping the totems as quick as possible. Actually, not going to be too upset about getting a taunt, but that'll at least buy him a little bit of time. He's going to go ahead and drop, and the shield is still up. So now I'm pretty sure he's going to go ahead, drop a couple Blade Storms. I wouldn't be surprised to clear this, because I think Steve kind of understands that Naycrusade is completely out. As soon as you start dropping totems, yeah, it's pretty much over. And that's going to clear the entire board. He's not going to be happy and sitting with anything that he wants. He has Rattlegore in 2 turns. Like, this is... I hate to call it, because I called it so many times before. Again, still have to work through 30 health, but I think this is pretty close to calling it if Naycrusade can't pull something out in the next 2 turns to actually stack up his side of the board.
Yeah, Tidecaller, the only thing in hand. If you play it, it will just get traded out on board. Not a lot that can be done at all right now from Naycrusade. Can't find much in hand. Shield Maiden on the other side, just going to put that life back to a more safe total. Looks like the trade will come through here, initiated. But Naycrusade doesn't have anything with a whole ton of reach in the deck, as is typical of these Shamanlists, right? Your top end is Felfa Navigator and like the Whack-A-Null. I guess Voracious Reader off the top could be big.
Could? But, I mean, what are you drawing, right? At this point, you're drawing low-end Murlocs that can't really be buffed up within the areas. So you're sitting tops of maybe 1 or 2, right? So yeah, you go ahead, you get a 2-1 and you get a +1/1, but what really can you do in this situation? Now you're praying for the totems to actually keep you safe, but I mean, what more can totems really do? Your deck is not built for that. Oh, and that's just a board clear in itself right there.
Yeah, that one is gonna hurt. I have Cthulhu as well in hand. That one's been sitting for a little bit. Gonna do a lot of damage. Once again, not a lot of options, but like Voracious Reader into some kind of Firemancer Flurgle play is the only thing that I can really see. Not gonna find that either. You're just gonna have to totem and play out that Crab Rider, unfortunately.
Yeah, at this point, Steve is just kind of waiting the inevitable, right? He's stacking up a few more, getting the shields up, understands that there's 1 or 2 more pieces that could possibly come through. I think, honestly, the only thing that you're looking at is even the Firemancer here wouldn't really do anything, right? You're taking a look, and what more can you pull? The Tiny Fins, I think, are completely out. So are the Tight Collars, and all of them are gone. So really, you're cutting down to almost nothing. So yeah, you drop the Voracious Reader, but what more can you drop? He's been sitting on that Lightning Bloom the entire time, and it's just been, so now he's going to drop it, right? Just to get it out of his hand kind of thing. But going to be able to draw 3. What is he going to draw here? I'm very curious. So he goes ahead, gets the Mercenary, plus another No Fin, and the Firemancer. So tops. I still don't think that even breaks the shield that Steve currently has.
Yeah, it's not looking great. That was, I think, some of the best Murlocs you could have drawn, some of those cards you could have drawn, but it's just not enough. There's just nothing in the deck that's enough at this point. And the board's going to continue to be cleared down. Maw of Cthulhu looks like it's going to be played on that Voracious. Regardless, there's more than enough tools here to deal with Naycrusade's entire board. There is that Maw of Cthulhu going to trade out, and 9 damage will go to the face. We're halfway completed on that Cthulhu, but it's probably not going to get that far in the game.
Yeah, and once you draw that Lightning Bloom, it's kind of just, it's rough, right? That's all you can really say about it right now. He's going to go ahead, drop that. Yeah, you get 4-3, but yeah, you're still cutting through. Sitting at 6-2 and 4, but it's just not enough, right? You don't have any time. Just stuck with nothing. And yeah, you call it a well played. You call it a GG. And that was well weathered by Steve. That's all I can really say right there. Being able to weather out that storm of Murlocs where Naycrusade honestly got some of the best starting pieces and had a decent run there in the early game.
I will say, just everyone at home, take a deep breath. We were right here about an hour ago, almost an hour on the dot. A player from Pittsburg State University representing the Gorillas was down 2 games to none, had a shaman and a priest left, and needed to beat a druid 3 times. I'm just saying. Can we get the X-Files music in here? Is there? Can we cue that up? Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. I don't know what you said.
That was amazing. You're gonna get strike for that, man. Come on. Almost sounding exactly like the soundtrack.
I'm just saying, there might be something here. I said there's something in the air. You can feel the thickness of this competition, and for the first time, it's not just my asthma. So there's something going on. I'm just saying, we're gonna see if Steve is able to seal the deal and get the win with this druid. But crazier things have happened, Orbital.
Yeah, and again, if what we're going by is actually true, and hearing about, you know, how these players like to target certain decks, if they actually targeted the token druid in these situations, that's great. Like, that is the most impressive thing I think I've seen out of any Hearthstone player, right? Actually being able to say, cool, we know they're probably going to run this deck type. It's one of the best 3rd decks to have. Cool. All we need to do is focus this one deck. That's it. And if this is the entire setup, PSU have my honestly have my bet for getting all the way to the finals and possibly winning it all.
Yeah, we will see. I mean, that's true. It doesn't matter if you can't beat 2 of their decks, but if you can beat that 3rd deck 3 times, more power to you. We'll see Naycrusade running it back with this Murloc list and has a very strong starting hand. This opener is looking absolutely fantastic. And on the other side, Steve really has to wait till turn 2 for that guest away. Has Innovate, has Coin. We're going to see how many resources you're willing to pour early on into drawing some cards, and is going to go Innovate and Coin right away just so they can power out an early turn 1 play, get the Fungal Fortunes out, drawing 3 cards, and most likely not going to discard anything. Oh, hits the Gibbling. That hurt.
No, that... Luckily, the next one was the Adorable Infestation, so he's still might be able to throw down some. But again, against an already 2 Murloc set and not knowing what the opponent has in there, you are stuck, right? Like this is gonna be a little bit rough. So at least a little extra damage is coming down. I want to say drops down to maybe 25. If Naycrusade actually decides, as long as he drops, he might set. Oh, that's gonna be the.
He said lower, so no cards being drawn.
I heard the happiness come out. I heard the happiness come out.
I'm pulling for the underdog, all right? I want a good story out of this one. Not once have I seen back-to-back reverse sweeps from the same school, and that's exactly what Naycrusade is trying to pull off right here, Lightning Gloom. But Orbital, a lot of work to be done before we get to that point.
Yeah, and actually throws down the Glowfly Swarm just to try and counteract some of the stacking. He understands that he's not going to be able to, but very nice draw on the Firemancer, which he's still sitting on 2 more Murlocs, only will be able to throw down 1. That's still going to be enough to drop him down to 2 1s, which means next turn, if that Firemancer is not taken out, it will be death to any of the Glowflies. So he'll probably just try and sacrifice and then drop down a few more. His
trade out
clear.
Yeah,
He might be able to just hard clear it all out.
Yeah, we'll be able to, that 3-4 and the 1-3 going in, yeah, is able to entirely clear the board out and has a 3-4 Wind Fury on board. Soul of the Forest being drawn now does absolutely nothing. Your board is non-existent. 2 mana, you've just got Escape Shift, and all of a sudden, Naycrusade finally found the hand they were looking for with the Shaman list.
Oh, this is, again, if this is what they planned for the entire time, this is the most impressive scouting that I have seen out of any singular person for Hearthstone, right? Very, very impressive thus far to say, yeah, this is the one deck that we know we can beat 100% over and over again. And this is going to drop him down within lethal range. That's 10, 12, 15, sitting at close. Yeah, so that's next. I mean, you can drop the turtles with 1-2, but yeah, you can't really do much else.
Yeah. I think there's probably going to be enough there to fight through all of this. So this is looking like a game 1 for Naycrusade regardless. Is sitting on that South Coast Chieftain in hand. That's going to be able to deal with one of the turtles and just send the rest in.
He has a no-fin. He has no.
Wow.
Oh, that hurt. Wow. Oh, that hurts. He drew it at perfect time.
Oh my goodness. You know what? It's like, you know that meme where it's like gamer mode engaged, the dude's just sitting backwards and then he's all of a sudden up here? That is what happens when anyone from PSU sees a Druid list. They're here. What? All of a sudden lean forward, ready to go. First win of the day for Naycrusade comes off the back end of that Shaman list. We've got the Druid, we've got the Priest list. Which are left? Which are we seeing here, Orbital?
I hate to say it, I want to see the Druid. I want to see that double matchup now because I think saving the Priest for later might give him a better opportunity. You know, play out the deja vu tactic, right? If you're into Superstition, play that Priest last. Play it like your buddy did last one. Cool, awesome, and that's actually the okay. So they just said, no, screw Orbital, give it to Nelhad.
How exciting would it be, Game 5, to have the mirror matchup, baby? A 50-50 split. Give me the 5th game. Naycrusade trying to do the impossible and pull off a reverse sweep. And as the 6th seed going up against the number 3 seeded Steve, they're going to need a good hand to do it.
So full mulligan coming out of Steve right now. Goes ahead, drops the fungal. Solar Eclipse, Pride's Fearing, guess the
weight.
Almost
the same hand as last game, it feels like.
That, I don't like it. Okay, drew a Gibberling. Not terrible. He's gonna sit on that for a while, obviously, but I mean, taking a look at the other side, Naycrusade is sitting on the Insight, Apotheosis, and the Sethek, Wandmaker, Palm Reading. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's get started on the spells.
Veilwearer is so good, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know what this card does, after you cast a spell on a minion, you add a pre-spell to your hand. This thing can snowball in a hurry. It's a 2/3. It's got a solid body on board, especially into this deck. And Steve's got to think about it. What do you do against this? You have no answers for it immediately in your hand. You don't want to play the Gibberling into it because it's a bad trade. This card just feels so good on an empty board.
Yeah, actually has all the likings to actually buff up this Veil Weaver forever, right? You have the Apotheosis, which is going to give him, I think, straight up 5/5. Or no, 4/6, I'm very sorry. Plus Lifesteal, which is ridiculous. And after that, you can go ahead and drop the Insight if you wanted to, which means that any minion that's thrown down is going to just be a disgusting sight to see. And then depending on what two pre-spells you get out of that specifically, it could be damaging. So Steve's sitting on that Solar Eclipse. Double Solar Eclipse is fine. Well, let's see what he does. So yeah, he's going to go ahead, drop the Apotheosis, and keep this thing healthy. That's going to drop in a Draconic Studies, which is going to be so... Oh. And then he also got the palm reading in set, and actually can't do much else for the time being, but this is already starting... It's already starting that snowball that you were talking about.
Absolutely. On the other end, we missed it. Steve got the guess the weight wrong because he flipped 2-cost spell, said more, got another 2-cost spell off the top, so didn't even get the additional card draw. Not a great turn 2, and just like that, Steve's looking at his hand saying, yeah, I got a lot of ways to do a lot if I had minions. If I had a way to get some minions on this board, I could do some damage. Going to toss out the Gibberling, trying to get things started here, but what are you really playing into? Just the coin? Going to draw some cards maybe with Fungal? Innervate into that? So going to build the board. Going Lunar Eclipse. Actually, you could combo. Can you Lunar Eclipse into Pride? Reduces it by 2.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's 4, right? Reduces by 2. You can play 2 more. So you can Lunar Eclipse into Pride.
Oh, okay. Lunar Eclipse. I thought you said Solar Eclipse. I was like, my
Pride?
brain doesn't want to work.
So Solar Eclipse, double cast Lunar Eclipse, reduce the spell by 4, double cast, or then you can finally get your Pride. Oh my gosh! I should have been a math major.
All right, so Nell had just hacked the game. Nell had straight up hacked the game, and all of a sudden Steve's like, bro, what's up? I got my Gibberlings. I got these guys that'll chatterbox your head off. And now Naycrusade is like, bro,
that hurt. That hurt so bad. Soul Mirror is like what you have to find to get out of the situation. I'm thinking about other wraps in deck. Soul Mirror feels like the one, and that's not for 3 more turns. All of a sudden, Naycrusader had a solid board, but Steve found just an absolutely monstrous play with these Gibberlings. Whew, that one hurt. Absolutely cut this game off on a dime.
Yeah, and he's going to go ahead and draw a 1-cost, which is just a Holy Smite.
But you can get rid of the active Gibberling, which is big.
Yeah, and he's actually going to prep and draws the Thorn Growth. That's going to save Steve from taking any of these down. I think he can lay it down and actually get both, or just one, I'm sorry. We're going to see if Naycrusade actually has anything to say about this, because he's still sitting on a lot of prep. This is all prep in his hand pretty much, and so Steve is going to get a little bit of time to solidify an opportunity. You can actually see it being thrown down, so that's going to be an extra Gibberling, and he is looking so primed and ready for anything that comes his way.
Yeah, absolutely. Primed and ready. Soul Mirror is once again the card that you're really looking for here. You can find it'll clear the board. To note, the other Gibberling is now gone for the rest of the game. So if you can deal with that one Gibberling, you're cool. Glowfly Storm is in hand, which it is trouble, but you got to deal with these Gibberlings some way, somehow. Gonna go with the palm reading. Could be big. None of the spells you're really looking for. Initiation is not how you're trying to deal with Gibberlings.
No, and again, he's just gonna have to take the 12. I think. I don't think he has anything else, and Steve actually draws a buff again.
I would Holy Smite the Gibberling that's active. I think you have to.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other opportunity to do anything else, and he's actually gonna throw down, and he's gonna use the Hysteria. This could actually be interesting. Oh! He got so like, no, he doesn't get the other 1/1.
Oh man,
that would have been. It's still huge. Though. It's still amazing, and now he's gonna go ahead, grab one of the dragons, and start stacking for the next turn. That was a roll of the die that landed on 6 3 times.
His next dragon's gonna cost 3 less, by the way. Like, it's just ridiculous.
No, just one.
Ooh, so one. He has 2 more. He's got 2 more of those Draconic Studies, right? So he'll get his next dragon should cost 3 less. It should stack up. So those Draconic Studies each going to make the next dragon cost 1 less. So we're potentially looking at a massive dragon for discounted, 1 for free. Fungal Fortunes will be coming through, doubled up, guess the weight. Another Glowfly Storm. That'll be hard to fight through. Lightning Bloom. So tough. There's a Lunar Eclipse. Soul of the Forest. Oh, Steve, that might do it. That is tough. That is a tough amount of cards to fight through if you're Naycrusade. You're praying for some massive dragon here.
You are praying indeed, and you can see the numbers starting to dwindle down, but let's see what Naycrusade decides to do. So he's sitting on the Skeletal Dragon, goes ahead and draws up a Void Flare, which is... that actually could clear the board if he really decided to for some reason. But I think he's going to wait because he knows that the Glowflies haven't come out. And at this point, you have to at least have drawn one. It always feels like the Glowflies are always in hand when you least expect it. So I think Naycrusade is expecting the unexpected, to take the most literal term of it. Instead goes ahead. Void Flare would be the easiest way to access it. Whereas you're still looking at getting the Draconic Studies. Has the Insight, which I don't think... He wants the Corruption on it. So he's gonna wait. That's gonna go ahead and use the Holy Smite. I feel that's a little late to use the Holy Smite, but I mean, if it clears a little bit more, that's great.
Why not use the Draconic Insights here? Just to know what you're building towards. And in my mind, I'm trying to have as the options as available as possible so I can kind of plan out my turns. And them sitting in hand doesn't mean a whole lot to me.
Ooh. That's a setup of setups right there.
I'll tell you what though, Soul Mirror still takes care of this, essentially.
Oh my gosh.
Soul Mirror off the top. Not gonna find it. But another Draconic Insight. That Deathwing? No, that Deathwing's kind of trash because you lose your hand. This is hard. These are some hard decisions right here. Deathwing takes care of the boards, but then you leave them with the Treants. So going to grab it for the time being, instead going to drop down the taunt right there. Gift of Luminance. This is going to be big. That is a lot of beef to fight through right there. Going to kick back a Brightwing to hand. Ooh. That could be big. Some more card generations. So at a minimum, Naycrusade buying some time right now.
That's all it is right now, and keep buying time, keep praying that you can survive through, because at this point, Steve has a full rotation and then some of full boards, right? You see in his hand, he has a secondary Glowfly Swarm plus double Thorngrowth Sentries, so he will always have a board in time to not take any damage. He is going to wait out any of these dragons that are currently coming through, so Naycrusade has got to hope that this is going to work, and he goes ahead, drops a Lunar Eclipse, and I think he's going to, he's going to use Guess the Weight and try and rotate through.
Oh, Arbor Up hurts bad right now. Next turn, we're looking at lethal very, very, very soon right here.
Yeah.
As well as that Nature Studies, that's probably going to find some sort of buff. There is a lot of damage potential on the board right here. Doesn't actually find any buff, so that's going to be fortunate for Naycrusade. But going to reduce that next spell cost by 1 regardless. Massive board. It's hard to deal with. If you wipe it, you're still going to be dealing with 3 2/2 Treants here.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at his hand, he doesn't really have that much of an opportunity. Gonna go ahead, try and discover something. And the Holy Nova might come in clutch for him here. Yeah, he goes ahead.
3.
He goes ahead and draws it. He's gonna have to drop it here. And he's still gonna have to deal with 3 more Treants, which is fine, but they're also gonna be slept a little bit, I think. Gonna go ahead and heal himself, put him up to 20. I think he saved himself. He definitely saved himself here. Goes ahead and drops that Insight and draws another Void Flare. So he is, the Pride's Fury. Oh.
Minions +2/+1, so that's gonna be at 6 damage. 7. 1, 2, that's 6. That would put it to 12.
I think he's gonna barely survive. Naycrusade should barely survive this in the single digits.
Let's stop the math. We're gonna be surprised. No one count. Everyone put away your calculators. The ancient art of the flunge. Do math second. Attack first.
Come on, guess. What number is he gonna sit on health at after this turn? You don't want to guess. That's
+2/+1s. So we'll survive easily. Easily. Yeah. Never a doubt. Never a thought. Although with the Pride, was there lethal potential there?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But
the prep is there, though. The prep is definitely there for lethal.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you would have Durham Limit Station last turn as well, it was in hand, but it's not going to matter. The 7-10 not going to be enough to keep the rest out. There's the Pride's Fury, backing it up right here with Power of the Wild, buffing the whole squad up. That is going to do it for Naycrusade. Despite a valiant effort, will not be able to push the series any farther than 4 games.
It was a valiant attempt, and we salute the Priest attempt, right? And at least one made it. The Mirror Priest made it, so we know there is an available area for some cheekiness. That's the best way I can put it, right? No way that other Priest deck won at any other time, except in that exact scenario. Like, we were talking about it off air, now we're going to talk about it on air. No way that deck would have worked if that Moonfang didn't come out as early as it did, and there weren't already buff cards coming in. So Naycrusade unfortunately falls in a 3-1 series, but still very valiant attempt, like you said. Routed that deck all the way down to the last Druid and just couldn't pull out the victory.
Yeah, definitely got every ounce of value out of that Priest, just couldn't quite find the tools to deal with those Gibberlings early on, and just snowballed and snowballed. First Glowfly Storm, second Glowfly Storm, and then the buff started rolling up. It was just one thing after another. I don't know if we're gonna have time for an interview. We're very tight on time. All right, so we're not gonna have time for an interview. We're gonna talk it out a little bit more though. Final thoughts. Anything just on the front of your mind after that?
Number one, don't do math on any type of camera. That's always not. That's rule number one. Up there with any other rule number ones from games. And number two is potential for bottom tier decks, if manipulated properly, to beat top tier decks. Right? Like, it didn't show excessively here, but with already one upset in his books, I expect these players to. I don't believe these decks had to be static the entire time all the way through the rest of the playoffs. I do expect some variations to come out. Start manipulating some of these and start trying to figure out some weak points and work with what you know should be coming out. And if you do, we might see even more upsets than we expected.
Yeah, absolutely. But the first point you made may be the smartest thing any caster has ever said. Just don't do the math. Just be surprised. Just be shocked. You know what? I'll tell you what. My freshman year of college, right? You do placement tests to see where you get placed in certain things. You can skip some stuff. I am not a math guy. I'm a Bachelor of Arts. I study video production, so I only have to take one math class to graduate. So you know what I did going to my placement test?
What's that?
I purposely got every answer wrong so I could get into the lowest math 125, quantitative reasoning. On the first day of class, my professor said, this isn't even really a math class. The day I was done, I took my exam, walked out of there, went to Walmart, bought a whole birthday cake, and ate that bad boy to celebrate. That is how much I hate math. So if you catch me doing math on stream, somebody call 911, get an ambulance right over to my house because something is horribly, horribly wrong.
When you had the best math calculation out of any of the games, how can you say that, Nelhad? You predicted the lunar into the solar, the double lunar into the solar was, I think, one of the coolest things I've seen. Or was it, what was it? I think it might have been something else. And now I'm recounting wrong.
Solar into lunar into something.
It was
watch the VOD back, right? Hey, these go live on YouTube. Quick plug. Caleb tossed these live on YouTube when they're all done. Go check that out. Go blow it up. Share it with your grandma. Grandmas love Facebook. Slide that on Facebook, all right? But until then, until we can figure out what the big brain math was, we're going to take a quick step aside. We're going to come back for a little bit more analysis. We're going to look ahead at the next game as well. Don't go anywhere.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.